Chapter 21. There is a God of Calabash in the Oregon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios, Liener, we need to get back to Grand White Grotto, heaven, as soon as possible. Time to say goodbye to Brother Shen. Li Changde was surprised that his own sister had given her 16th birthday present to Shen Tian. What did my sister just do? Have you ever considered how our father will feel? That jade water sword is a spirit artifact that is worth even more than Dharma artifacts. A spirit artifact worths at least hundreds of spirit crystals. That's about 100,000 spirit stones. Furthermore, jade water sword is a rare spirit artifact, and thus its value is much more. That's close to 1 million spirit stones gone. How did you give away such an item so easily? Help. Li Changde did not dare to let the two of them stay together anymore. God knew what she would give to Shen Tian later. Brother Shen, this 7-treasure fairy calabash is really important. We will take our leave first. When you and your master have decided on a date, my father and I will be waiting for you at our Grand White Grotto, heaven. Then, Li Changde disappeared with Liener in a blink of light and disappeared. Haze. Shen Tian finally relaxed. He got free in the end. The whole development had left him at a loss for words. In the beginning, he had been trying to assist people in selecting ores, and now, he was almost engaged. Shen Tian had confessed to other girls in his previous life, yet they had all rejected him. But here, he had only used a simple, NPC-like sentence, "There is fate between us," to attract Li Liener, and this happened. I'm being bullied for looking too handsome. Shen Tian sighed and looked at the direction that they had left. Although Li Changde had made it sound easy, it would be a rough journey back to Grand White Grotto, heaven. The temptation of the 7-treasure fairy calabash was too great. Shen Tian did not worry that much, though. Before acquiring the 7-treasure fairy calabash, Li Liener had already had a pure red halo. Now, with the calabash seed at hand, a part of her halo was emitting a golden glow, meaning her providence had significantly increased. It was even higher than Qin Gao's. At the same time, her brother possessed a red halo, which was tainted with green spots. Logically speaking, they would both lead the successful lives all cultivators dreamed about. In other words, at this stage, it was impossible for them to face danger. We will meet again. I hope that I'll be someone with providence shining upon me by then, and I'll be able to win over your father, too, murmured Shen Tian, smilingly. Then, he picked up the jade water sword. Although it looked thin and fragile, it was quite heavy, as it weighed about 15 kilograms. Suddenly, Shen Tian remembered something. He was 5 kilometers away from Myriad Spirit Garden. Li Changji. You idiot. You should at least send me back first. I'm not even at the Qi refinement realm yet. I cannot use sword kinesis flight. Help. Will there be any monster around here? Fortunately, Shen Tian found the main road after climbing on a hill. Normally, monsters and demons would not appear on the main road, while plenty of horse carriages, which headed for Myriad Spirit Garden, traversed on the main road. I'll be able to hitch a ride soon. Unless I am extremely unlucky. Wait. Unlucky. Shen Tian was astonished, his halo was still black. Shen Tian was unaware that due to the emergence of monsters at the other end of the road, this road had been blocked off for usage until further notice. Thus, it was nigh impossible for him to hitch a ride today. Well, in the first place, Shen Tian was not going to wait for miracles to happen. He believed that with pure skills and determination, he did not need luck to accomplish something. I only need to depend on myself. It's just 5 kilometers. The sword is just 15 kilograms. It is not difficult at all. By the time Shen Tian reached Myriad Spirit Garden, the sun had already set. Surprisingly, his feats had spread throughout Myriad Spirit Garden too. Have you heard? There is a master in our myriad spirit garden. He can judge the ores very accurately. I heard that he chose the turquoise calabash spirit ore in the sacred spirit workshop and got a 7-treasure fairy calabash seed, which can grow into an invincible mountain guardian plant. No. It's not a seed. It's the calabash itself. I heard that the calabash is emitting a beautiful rainbow color. Really? I heard that there is a baby inside the ore, and a 7-treasure fairy calabash is hovering over his head. He is fated to become a hero. No, that's not true. I was there and saw what happened. He was not the one opening the ore, he just chose the ore for Fairy Lienner. He picked the Sacred Spirit Workshop's lucky charm for Miss Lienner. There was a soul formation heavenly venerable calabash in that turquoise calabash spirit Oregon. It said that Fairy Lienner has fate with it, and it is willing to become her protector. The more time passed, the more the rumors were deviating from the truth. When the news reached the Sky Spirit Pavilion, there was hardly a grain of truth. Shanautian. Disciple of Supremacy Fate in Dark Grotto on Nippon Mountain. He picked the turquoise calabash spirit ore for Fairy Lienner, and there was a calabash god in it. It's willing to bless the Lee family for 1,000 years and make Grand White Grotto, heaven a holy place. Shopkeeper Song's mouth twitched when he heard the news. Only retards would believe it. The young shopkeeper was by his father's side too. His face was less swollen. Shan-ao, Shanautian. Are they related? They are probably the same person. Shan-ao is a disciple of Grand White Grotto, heaven too. This happened right after my ass got kicked. Is the Lee family trying to warn us? Kicking your ass is too easy for the Lee family and Grand White Grotto, heaven. They don't have to make such a huge fuss. Shopkeeper Song continued on and said, there are only two possibilities. 1. The Lee family really obtained something extraordinary from the ore. They purposely spread these many false rumors so that fewer people would know the truth and go after the treasure. What heavenly venerable calabash and calabash the arch? They are just a smokescreen. 2. They are just helping Shan-ao to build up his reputation. He just learned about how Little Spirit Fairy works with us, and this happened. They are probably trying to follow our sales pattern and target the female cultivators to make profits. These rumors are merely trying to catch everyone's attention, that's all. Nonetheless, both possibilities suggest that the Lee family is supporting him from the shadows. We cannot mess with him. Before the Grand White Grotto, heaven, their Sky Spirit Pavilion was a toy in the palm of their hands. Chapter 22. Kindness in Charity. Not looking for cultivation partners. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios Shan-tian was unaware that he had become highly popular in some people's eyes, while in the eyes of others, he had become one of those in Myriad Spirit Garden that definitely should not be provoked. Now, Shan-tian only had one thought in his mind. It's really comfortable to be able to have a good night's sleep. Shan-tian was exhausted as he had forced himself to walk for tens of kilometers while bearing a load of 15 kilograms. One should know, he was just a youth that had recovered from chi deviation not long ago. Fortunately, when he returned to Myriad Spirit Garden, Eunuch Gui and Qin Gao had already booked an inn for him. After taking a warm bath and finding an attendant to give him a massage, he finally relaxed. Well, not completely. He was displeased with the woman massaging him, she was too unprofessional. Since she was a masseuse, she should just stick to doing her job instead of touching some unnecessary places that did not need massaging. She even said that he was too handsome and requested to make her feel comfortable, too. Naturally, Shan-tian exploded in anger and forced her to leave. She should just do her job. Not only were her massaging skills not up to standard, but her attitude was also awful. I spent money on you to service me. What do you mean by asking me to make you feel comfortable too? Did you expect me to give you a massage too? I'm already this tired. Don't you even have a shred of consciousness and common sense? Not to mention, did you even consider offering me money? In the end, Eunuch Gue's skills are the best. He just nicely possesses the right skill set and strength. Eunuch Gue had been training and honing his skills in order to help the 13th prince promote blood circulation and reconnect his tendons and bones for these 16 past years. They were fantastic, indeed. Soon, while being massaged by Eunuch Gue, Shen Tian fell into a deep slumber. The next day, the sun rose. Shen Tian awakened and felt that his whole body was comfortable as if he had been reborn. At the side, Eunuch Gue asked with concern, "Your Highness was hardworking and tired yesterday, so how about resting today?" "I cannot. I have left the palace to train myself. How could I slack off just because of being a little tired? This damn black halo. I need to turn it all white as soon as possible." Shen Tian looked at his reflection in the mirror and stared at the white spots that had appeared on his black halo. Upon seeing his progress, he started brimming with energy. "I'm almost there, almost there. I just need to freeload another 1 to 2 great fortuitous opportunities. Then, it will turn completely white." How could he dare be lazy in such a critical period? "Eunuch Gue, please help me in safekeeping that sword," said Shen Tian while pointing at the jade water sword. "This is the token of love that Her Highness has left for your Highness. I cannot possibly keep it. Firstly, she is not my wife yet. Secondly, I have yet to start using a sword. Thirdly, that sword is too heavy for me to carry it." Shen Tian had been walking for 30 kilometers straight the previous day while carrying that sword. It had almost peeled off a layer of his back skin. He would rather die than carry that sword and walk around daily. Eunuch Gue said reluctantly, "Then, let me help your Highness and carry it for you. There should be no problem if I immediately return the sword to His Highness when we meet Her Highness again." After washing up, Shen Tian tidied his robe and mustache and took his banners, prepared to go out and set up a stall. However, on second thoughts, he stopped. He took out a writing brush and added 5 big words behind the "kindness in charity," not looking for cultivation partners. Afterward, Shen Tian heaved a sigh of relief and left without worries. The 3 of them headed toward the place they had set up their stall previously. To their surprise, they noticed that it was already packed with people. A few girls immediately raised their banners and cheered when they saw Shen Tian. "Brother Celestial. I love you, just like how Spirit Mouse likes celestial rice 1 inch, you are my celestial gourd, I am your flower. You are my brother Celestial, always in my heart. Brother Celestial, fate is like a bridge. I am willing to cross mountains, travel through ravines, and cross the bridge to see you." Upon seeing the numerous avid fans, Shen Tian pointed at his banner coldly. Kindness in charity, not looking for cultivation partners. At that moment, the sounds of hearts being broken echoed in the surroundings. Shen Tian cupped his hands together and said, "I'm Shen Outyen, a disciple of Supremacy Fate in Dark Grotto on Nippon Mountain. I am here to do acts of kindness, helping the right people to search for spirit stones and judge for spirit ores. I hope my fans can consult me logically, not affecting the order here nor your own normal lives. Drink more warm water daily and reduce your acts of chasing idols. It's better for your mental and physical health." When Shen Tian finished speaking, his fans' spirits were lifted again. "Wow, Brother Celestial is so caring. He cares for us. He's too considerate. I think I've fallen in love. How I hope that I am fated with Brother Celestial. Brother Celestial, please be fated with me, fated with me." "Never mind." Shen Tian gave up trying to persuade them. Indeed, as long as he was handsome for 1 day, it would be impossible for the number of girls surrounding him to decrease. Those outside the palace did not know how unlucky he had been in the past. Truthfully, he kind of missed Lawn Palace's quiet atmosphere now. Currently, the crowd was surrounding him, to the point he did not even have his personal space anymore. This was a very troubling matter. Everyone, please keep quiet. Queue up properly one by one. Those who are fated with me, please stand to the left. I will bring you to search for your spirit ores. Meanwhile, those who are not fated with me, you can stay to take a look or leave. I definitely will not force you. Thanks to eunuch Gui and Qin Gao's presence, as well as the willing cooperation of the girls in the surrounding, order was restored in front of the stall. Those that had come for or gambling in hopes of changing their luck had voluntarily formed a long queue in front of Shantian. Shantian was in no rush. He observed each person carefully and showed them where to stand right after. Really? I am fated with Brother Celestial. That's great. Please, wait for a moment. I will bring you to search for your ore shortly. Also, please keep your hands off me unless you want to negatively influence our fate. Why? Why am I not fated with Master Celestial? Oh, no. There's no need for you to be disheartened. Fate is something mysterious and unpredictable. You might not be fated with me today, but maybe tomorrow we might be fated. Master Celestial, I am here to ask if my daughter is fated with you. May I know if you have a cultivation partner? Auntie, you are not fated with me. If your daughter is interested, you can let her come and ask me herself. Also, it is already written on the banner that I am not looking for a cultivation partner. Next. I am a golden core perfected one, and you actually say you're not fated with me. How dare you? Fate cannot be forced. Senior, if you want to use force, then face the enforcers first. You. Just you wait, I'll definitely come back. Under an organized, disciplined, and transparent selection process, Shantian spent only half a day to gather a team of 20 elite-fated people. It consisted of males and females, whose cultivation levels were high and low. They all stood behind Shantian in an orderly manner. It'll just be these people today then. Shantian smiled and started to sort out the people. Number 1, 3, 8, 15, the 4 of you will be a team. Follow me to Sky Spirit Pavilion. The rest of you are free to act as you wish. Afterward, Shantian led the 4 fated people toward the Sky Spirit Pavilion, where their fortuitous opportunities waited for them. Unfortunately, no matter what Shantian said, it was useless. It was in everyone's nature to gather in anticipation of mind-blowing events. Thus, everyone followed behind Shantian as he walked toward the Sky Spirit Pavilion. Everyone wondered whether this Master Celestial possessed the shocking ability to probe and assess ores, or it was pure luck that he had obtained the 7-treasure fairy calabash seed. Fortunately, that answer would be revealed shortly. Chapter 23. Too unfathomable, can't afford to provoke. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. Hundreds of people formed a huge crowd, which was headed toward the Sky Spirit Pavilion. Soon, its size increased as other onlookers interested joined them halfway. When they reached the Sky Spirit Pavilion, the street was almost flooded with people. Shopkeeper Song and his son heard that the street was bustling with noise, so they hurriedly went outside. They only saw that the person leading the crowd was actually Shantian, who was wearing a robe and holding his banner. Father, it's really him. Although Shantian had changed his clothes and pasted a fake mustache, it was unable to conceal his handsomeness, which allowed young shopkeeper Song to immediately recognize him. Alright, it was mainly because Shantian had disguised himself too carelessly. Did he think that the art of disguising was just changing a set of clothes and pasting a fake mustache? He must think everyone was blind. Shopkeeper Song's face was solemn as he whispered, if it's really him, then just pretend you didn't recognize him. He's too unfathomable, and we can't afford to provoke him. As Shantian stepped into the Sky Spirit Pavilion, Shopkeeper Song was observing him. Unexpectedly, he could not see through Shantian. He was unable to feel the slightest iota of Shantian's spirit chi. Normally, there were only two possibilities for such a situation. Firstly, Shen Tian's cultivation level was much higher than his. Secondly, Shen Tian's cultivation technique completely overwhelmed shopkeeper Song's cultivation technique, and not by just a grade. No matter which possibility it was, it meant that Shen Tian had a mighty background. He was definitely not someone his Song family could afford to offend. Then, recalling that Shen Tian discovered a 7-treasure fairy calabash seed, shopkeeper Song instantly put on a bright smile. Forgive my disrespect for not welcoming you in time. I did not know that Master Celestial Outyen would come to my shop. Shen Tian was stunned, as shopkeeper Song was overly polite. Shen Tian glanced at young shopkeeper Song, who was forcibly squeezing out a smile and fell deep in thoughts. So this foolish guy did not recognize me. I just need to change my clothes and paste a mustache for a successful disguise. Looks like such a disguise is universal in alternate worlds. Shen Tian snapped out of it and heaved a sigh of relief. Shopkeeper Song, you're too polite. Shopkeeper Song kept flattering him. I've heard that not only Master Celestial Outyen's techniques are astonishing, but even your appearance is elegant and refined. It's as if a heavenly immortal has descended. Now that I've seen it for myself, such a description is indeed well deserved. Shopkeeper Song was so polite that Shen Tian felt embarrassed. He had beaten up the man Sun Up the previous, yet Shopkeeper Song was praising him in such a way today. This script is not following the cultivation novel's norm. Due to Shopkeeper Song's attitude, Shen Tian did not bear to say anything bad. Shopkeeper Song, you're overpraising me. I see that your son's appearance is extraordinary. There are protruding lumps on his head, which means he has outstanding talents. In the future, he will definitely turn into a genius cultivator. His future is limitless. Naturally, young shopkeeper Song, who was at the side, heard everything. Thus, Shen Tian's phrasing put young shopkeeper Song's nose out of joint. What the f***ck? My extraordinary appearance is all due to being beaten up by you. f***ck protruding lumps on my head. Your hits caused them all. You just beat me up yesterday, and today you appear here with that half-hearted disguise. Damn, you only changed a shirt and pasted on a mustache. You've come to ridicule me. Shen Ao, you're going too far. Shopkeeper's son pulled his son, who was about to pounce at Shen Tian to get revenge, without batting an eye. May I know why Master Celestial is here today? Before Shen Tian could speak, the other four fated people behind him replied simultaneously, Master Celestial is here to help us look for and assess our ores. Look for ores and assess them. Is this an advertising scheme? No. Shopkeeper Song frowned slightly. If that really were the case, then wouldn't he have received a notification or something? Since Shopkeeper Song had not prepared a special spirit or beforehand, the advertising scheme would fail. Is it possible that he really has the ability to search for and assess ores? Shopkeeper Song was astonished at that thought. Anyone who had the ability to do so was a renowned personage in the cultivation world. Not to mention that all major cultivation sects would fight to recruit such a person. Were that the case, then Shen Tian's importance in the eye of the Li family would be extremely high. Shopkeeper Song decided to observe first to figure out his real ability. As such, Shopkeeper Song revealed a smile. Welcome, welcome. We welcome Master Celestial Shen's guidance. All the spirit ores that Master Celestial Outyen picks will have a 4% discount. Although Shopkeeper Song had said nothing wrong, the various fans behind Shen Tian were unhappy. Shopkeeper Song, your attitude is wrong. When little spirit fairy visits, your face is bitter and ugly. So, how come you're smiling happily now? 4% discount. Do you think that Brother Celestial is unable to cut open the good stuff? Only a 4% discount. 31% discount, at least. Who are you looking down on? That's right. We don't need such a discount, just go according to the original price, original price. Upon hearing Shantian's die-hard fans' comments, the faded women remained indifferent, while the faded men felt it was a shame. Why did these busybodies have to spout such nonsense? Although a 4% discount was not much, it was still a discount. If the ore's price was 10 spirit stones, then they would save almost half a spirit stone. By that convention, it was 400 taels of silver. Wouldn't it be better to use that amount to go eat, drink, play, or gamble? Nevertheless, the current situation didn't allow them to voice their opinions. Should they voice them, they would be unable to endure the female cultivator's rage. Fortunately, Shantian did not reject Shopkeeper Song's proposal. Since Shopkeeper Song is being so generous, it won't be good for me to reject it. I'll trouble you to cut open the ores I choose then. What do you think, Shopkeeper Song? The Sky Spirit Pavilion charged a 10% commission fee for slicing open ores. After deducting the 4% discount, the Sky Spirit Pavilion could still earn quite the amount of money. Thus, even if Shantian did earn a lot of spirit stones from cutting open the ores, the Song family would not be too upset. A win-win situation could be achieved for all three sides. After all, Shantian also did not wish to incur hate of the major spirit shops in the Myriad Spirit Garden. It was better to have a friend than an enemy. Then, I'll thank Master Celestial Outyan. Shopkeeper Song's evaluation of Shantian increased by another grade because of what he said. Since ancient times, the cultivation world had seen its fair share of talented loners. Most of them were very arrogant and haughty. Unfortunately, destruction pursued the great, and such once-century geniuses had met untimely deaths and turned into dried piles of bones. On the other hand, families and talented individuals, who were courteous to the talented and humbled oneself before the learned, helped others, and made friends, were the last ones standing at the peak. One should know that fighting and killing did not reign supreme in the world, how one treated others also mattered. Under the guidance of four fated people's images, Shantian swiftly picked the spirit ores that contained their fortuitous opportunities. Those spirit ores' prices were not that high, ranging between 10 to 200 spirit stones. At the same time, the four fated people were able to buy them. After the four of them paid, they stared at their respective spirit ores nervously as they waited for the ore cutter to start slicing. The ore cutter started cutting according to the descending order of price, so the first ore was the most expensive. The selling price was as high as 188 spirit stones, and if it was converted to taels of silver, then it would be 188,000 taels. That was enough to buy a large manor in the country of fire with plenty to spare. Master Celestial, are you really sure? Lucky Man A seemed extremely nervous as the money he had spent was half of his whole fortune. If he made a loss when he returned home, he would most likely not even be able to sleep on the same bed with his cultivation partner for half a year. He would die from trying to keep it in. Shantian smiled. Absolutely. Just as Shantian finished speaking, the ore cutter had already used his spirit knife to start cutting the ore's outer layer. An azure-green ray of light shot out from within the ore's crack, covering the ore cutter's face in green. He did it again. Chapter 24. Ways to maintain our fate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. He did it again. The ore cutter peeled off a layer of rock and the entire spirit stone appeared. It was about the size of a lead ball and had a clear jade color. It was even bigger than the ones inside the spirit ore's little spirit fairy had chosen in the past. Most importantly, there was more than one crystal inside the stone. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 spirit crystals. Each one is worth at least 3,000 spirit stones. 188 for 3,000. That is a 1,600% profit. Wow! That's so worth it. Everyone's envious gazes were gathered on this lucky man A. If the spirit stones were to convert to money, that was 3 million taels. This amount of money would tempt even a golden core perfected one. Lucky man A was just at the sixth firmament of chi refinement. If he spent his newfound wealth wisely, he could easily reach foundation establishment. Shopkeeper Song walked up and examined the raw spirit stone. He took a deep breath and said, "There are 3 spirit crystals in this raw spirit stone, together with the ore itself, it is worth about 3,200 spirit stones. We will take 10% of the profits as the fees for cutting the ore for you. Overall, if you wish to sell it to us, we will pay you 3,000 spirit stones. What do you think?" Honestly, Shopkeeper Song's heart was bleeding. The Sky Spirit Pavilion had filtered all the spirit ores there in the past. Naturally, they had long removed all the spirit ores that might have something valuable inside, and whatever was left behind had been labeled as low chances of making a good profit. Shopkeeper Song could never imagine that an ore that cost 188 spirit stones would produce 3 spirit crystals. That was worth more than 3,000 spirit stones. How I wish I had seen this ore's potential and opened it myself. It would be such a wonderful deal. No matter how he wished that, Shopkeeper Song would not really dare to buy the ore for himself as it was too risky. The chances were very low, and he knew it. If he really opened all the ores in his shop, he would definitely suffer a considerable loss. Now, if he bought this back with 3,000 spirit stones and sold it for at least 3,500 spirit stones later, he would earn quite a profit too. 3,000, sure. Lucky man A was pleased with the price. At the same time, he regretted not cutting the ore himself. He could have saved 300 spirit stones and hired an ore cutter himself with this amount. Shantian smiled and said, "You cannot have everything. Fate will be gone if everything is there. If you really cut the ore by yourself and did not allow the shop owner to make any profit, he would probably scam you the next time you visited his shop. Also, it's not easy for commoners to sell spirit stones. Part of the value will be lost due to other commissions too. You might not even have 3,000 spirit stones in that case." All this time, Shantian had been observing how the color of one's halo would change. If Shantian did not interfere and they managed to obtain the spirit stones by themselves, there would be no change in the color. However, if Shantian interfered, their providence would increase together with Shantian's. Shantian did not know why, but he suspected it was because of his superpower. Presently, Lucky Man A's halo was changing rapidly. In the beginning, it had been white, but now, it was emitting a faint green light. He would definitely benefit from this change. Overall, it was the best situation. Shantian, Lucky Man A, and Shopkeeper Song could all benefit from it. In the meantime, Shantian was worried that all the workshops would blacklist and ban him because his skills were too precise and accurate. That would be very awkward. While Shantian was thinking, Shopkeeper Song had put the 3,000 spirit stones in pouches. There were 100 spirit stones in each pouch, and there were a total of 30 pouches, weighing several kilograms altogether. I'm rich. I'm rich. Lucky Man A happily stored the spirit stones into his bag. Then, another Lucky Man appeared and said softly to Lucky Man A, "Hey, buddy." Luck Man A smiled and asked, "What's up? Are you going home just like this? With all the spirit stones?" "Of course. Why?" Lucky Man B's voice was mixed with a tinge of exasperation. "You're so dense. Where is the portion for our Master Celestial?" Lucky Man A was confused. "Isn't he doing it for free?" "He said he is doing it for free, but that does not mean we mustn't pay him." What is the difference?" "He is doing it for free because he is generous and kind. If we do not pay, it shows that we are ungrateful." Lucky Man B continued on and said, "Also, did you forget what he said just now? You cannot have everything. Fate will be gone if everything is there. What do you think he was saying? He was hinting at you. Even shopkeeper Song earned 500 spirit stones from you. Master Celestial spent such a great effort in helping you, and you are so ungrateful. What if he gets disappointed and stops looking for ores for others in the future? You got your share already, sure. There are still 16 behind. Lucky Man A smiled and said, I see what you mean. Too bad, I have my spirit stones already. Why are you so short-sighted? Lucky Man B scoffed. Do you remember Master Celestial saying about how strange fate is? You might have fate with him today, but tomorrow it might be a different story. And the converse is true. In my opinion, if you make the right choice here, there is a long way between you and Master Celestial. If you only look at the present and ignore the future, I'm afraid the fate between you two will end today. Do you want to let it end? Or maintain it and make a profit repeatedly? Or do you want to stop it now? Lucky Man finally understood the rationale behind it. I see. I see. Thank you so much. I almost made the biggest mistake in my life. I'm going to give him 30% of my share now. No, maybe 30% is not enough. 50%. Wait, 80%. That is more sincere. Chapter 25. Master Celestial earned these, I should pay him. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. Thanks to Lucky Man B's reminder, Lucky Man finally came to an understanding. That's very true. I was tempted by the amount of the spirit stones just now. Well, 3,000 spirit stones was not a small amount. Anyway, as long as I earn Master Celestial's favoritism, it'll be easier for our ties of fate to last. In that case, I'll obtain more spirit stones in the future. Lucky Man A rushed toward Shantian swiftly. By that time, the 13th prince had already picked the second and third ores. The second ore's price was 108 spirit stones, and it contained a spirit crystal, whose worth was 1,200 spirit stones. Although its worth was not much compared to the first one, it was still a very good deal as its value had increased tenfold. As for the third one, it was a peculiar one. It looked normal, was gray in color, and its price was 66 spirit stones. Thus, nobody had ever picked this before. Unexpectedly, when the ore cutter opened the ore, rare iron essence lay within it. Iron essence was the main material cultivators needed to create supreme-grade enchanted armament flying swords. The finger-sized iron essence in the ore was worth 3,000 spirit stones. That was about 40 times the ore's original price. It was much higher compared to the first one. What a good deal. Upon seeing that, Lucky Man A's determination to pay Shantian became firmer. He had to give him the money no matter what. Most of the Myriad Spirit Gardens patrons knew that the ores here were leftovers and the chances of getting good items out of them were minimal. Nonetheless, Shantian had managed to identify 3 good ores in just a minute, and each one of them was worth at least 10 times their value. In other words, Shantian was extremely gifted in identifying ores. In Lucky Man A's mind, as long as he was in Master Celestial's good graces, it was impossible he would face poverty in the future. Thus, he took out all the 30 bags of spirit stones, kept 2 for himself, and gave Shantian the rest. This is a token of my gratitude toward you, Master Celestial. Please keep them. He said and bowed sincerely. Shantian was shocked. Why do you have to bow? Why do you give away your spirit stones? Gratitude. Seriously. That's like almost all you have. What's wrong with you? You spent 188 spirit stones for the ore. You sold the ore to the Sky Spirit Pavilion for 3,000 stones, and now you are giving me 2,800 spirit stones. So, you just want to earn your 12 spirit stones. Are you joking? Are you out of your mind? Truth be told, this amount of spirit stone did tempt Shintian. That was 2,800 spirit stones. They were worth 2,800,000 silver taels. If Lucky Man A had not offered them, Shintian could have ignored this matter. He would not have mixed feelings either. However, now that someone was offering him such a huge sum of spirit stones, what should he do? What should he do? Reject it. It was just too much to reject it. It would be a shame to reject it too. Unfortunately, there was no other way either. Shintian knew that he still needed to build up his reputation slowly. If the story of the man that earned a total of 2,812 spirit stones and only got 12 in the end because he offered the rest to Shintian spread, nobody would dare to ask for his services in the future. If that were to happen, his plan would be affected. The end result would not be good. Although Shintian wanted the money badly, he had no choice but to turn the man down. Like I said, my service is free. What do you mean by this? Lucky Man A smiled and said, Master Celestial spent such a huge effort on me and found this good ore. I just want to show my appreciation. I'm a man of my word. You are putting me in a very difficult position. Lucky Man A quickly explained, please, don't misunderstand me. It is really just a token of my gratitude. Please, take the spirit stones back. Shintian stopped him from speaking further and moved his sight away from the spirit stones. It was as though he had no interest in them at all. Only Shintian himself knew that he was afraid to look at them any longer, for he would be very tempted to keep them. That was 2,800 spirit stones. He had never come in contact with such an amount before, even though he was a prince. If he kept them, he would be rich. When Lucky Man A was on the verge of giving up, two other men spoke up. This brother here has a valid point. Master Celestial helped us get all these spirit stones, yet he did not ask for anything in return. It's not sensible. That's right. If Master Celestial does not accept the tokens of our gratitude, we will discard our fortuitous opportunities. Lucky Man A looked around for the sources of the voices. They were the second and third man that Shintian had helped earlier. Although they uttered those words with a pang of pain, they were very confident and sincere when saying them. They did not hesitate in the least. Lucky Man A felt ashamed of himself. He had not wanted to give Shintian any share of the stones before. He had only done it because he wanted to maintain their fate. Apparently, the other two's moral compasses were much better than his. Sure enough, they are people Master Celestial favors. They have good characters. I'm such a failure compared to them. I should really learn from them. While Lucky Man A was condemning himself, a shadow appeared behind him. It was Lucky Man B who had advised him earlier. He used a voice transmission and said, see, these two had the same mindset as yours, and I told them the same thing. Lucky Man A was rendered speechless. In the end, you convinced them into this too. Lucky Man B did not know Lucky Man A was secretly judging him. Lucky Man B looked at Shintian with admiration. Master Celestial is smart. He'll definitely know what I've been doing for him, so I'm sure he'll favor me. You are the first one who showed his gratitude, so Master Celestial will appreciate you too. As long as Master Celestial is on our side, we will become filthy rich in the future. Lucky Man A thought about it and said, yes, you are right. We will become filthy rich. Then, Lucky Man A got on his knee and shouted with a firm voice, I earned all these spirit stones due to Master Celestial's assistance, so I must pay you back. Please, forgive my rudeness, but I cannot allow Master Celestial to treat himself like this. If you do not accept my token of gratitude, I will kneel here forever. The other two were shocked by this. He's sure trying hard. Doesn't he feel embarrassed? Damn. He is the first one that offered spirit stones. If our sincerity is lacking, we will lose. We cannot lose here. With those thoughts in mind, the other two got on their knees too. If Master Celestial does not accept my token of gratitude, I'll kneel here forever too. Same for me. Chapter 26. Shopkeeper Song Trying Hard Too. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. The spectacle of the three men kneeling on the ground astounded Shintian. Normally, people would only kneel when they were trying to ask for money from others. Thus, it was the first time Shintian witnessed people kneeling in order to make others take their money. Seriously. Even the crowd started siding with them. Brother Celestial, since they are doing it as a form of kindness, you should accept them. Had it not been for you, they would not have obtained these spirit stones. Brother Celestial, you deserve them. There is a reward in every good deed. You should keep them. That's right. We are fated with Master Celestial too. If you do not accept our tokens of kindness, we will feel ashamed to receive your help. If you don't accept our tokens of kindness, we will be called ungrateful pieces of trash. Master Celestial, we beseech you to reconsider. Keep the stones. I really cannot keep it. Shintian sighed and tried to pull them up. Unfortunately, Shintian's strength was not enough to even make them budge. Thus, they were more convinced and determined to give their spirit stones to Shintian. Master Celestial wants the stones after all. He's just too shy to keep them. That must be the reason. If not, he would have pulled us up easily. If that's the case, let's play along with Master Celestial. Lucky Man A spoke up. Master Celestial, please listen to me. Master Celestial, you are a disciple of Supremacy Fate from Dark Grotto on Nippon Mountain. This means that you are your branch's successor. Although you do not need money or fame, your branch still needs them to be functional. We are indebted to you, meaning that we are indebted to your branch too. Please, keep these spirit stones as a donation we offer to your branch. Please. The other two agreed on it too. That's right. Even normal temples would not reject our donation. We are fated with Master Celestial, and we're your supporters too. We will be very disappointed if you reject our donation. Shintian was bewildered. He was still thinking of an excuse to keep the spirit stones, yet they came up with a rather good one on their own. It would really be a shame if I reject their offer. Why do you have to push me? Shintian looked very troubled and sighed. Never mind, it is your kind gesture, after all. I will keep them for my branch then. However, 90% is too much. I will only keep 10%. Shintian's words momentarily stunned the crowd. Lucky Man A spoke up again, 10%. No. Even Shopkeeper Song took 10% from us. If we only give you 10%, it shows that we are looking down on you. That's right. Master Celestial, please do not refuse anymore. 80% is the least we should offer. Shintian was caught between laughter and tears. Seriously, that's really too much. How about 20%? That is the most I can accept. Master Celestial's moral character is exceptional. You should have at least 70%. Please do not refuse anymore. 30%. 60%. 40%. 50%. Settled, we cannot take any more than that. The three of them said firmly, it is our luck that we managed to have ties of fate with you. You are the one who picked these ores, and we did nothing at all. It's already wrong for us to keep half of it. We really cannot have more. Master Celestial, if you keep refusing, we can only kneel here forever. Upon looking at the trio and the other 17 people who had yet to have their ores picked, Shintian knew that he had no other options. Sigh, all right. Guess I have no other choice. Shintian was confused. Why did this happen? In the cultivation world, isn't it about the survival of the fittest? Everyone should be at odds and fight for fortuitous opportunities. One should fight over the slightest hint of resources. That's how the cultivation world's way has always been. Why are they so generous? They're trying too hard to give away their spirit stones. I didn't accept their tokens of gratitude, and they were unhappy about it. Seriously, what's wrong with them? After receiving 50% of their spoils, Shantian realized that their halos were slightly greener than before. It was not very noticeable, so Shantian was not sure if his eyes were playing tricks on him. Since the shares were fixed, the flow of things was very smooth now. The fourth lucky man bought a small orb priced at 10 spirit stones and found a spirit crystal in it, which was worth 1,200 spirit stones. That was the highest payout among all four of them so far, 120 times the initial value. It was even higher than Little Spirit Fairy's show last time. The man was so excited that he kneeled down immediately. Under Lucky Man A's influence, he offered half of the profit to Shantian too. Their combined profit was about 8,000 spirit stones, meaning that Shantian's net profit was about 4,000 spirit stones. Even the entire country of Fire's tax income could not reach 4,000 spirit stones. Young Shopkeeper Song was staring at Shantian enviously, so Shopkeeper Song smacked his son's head. "Kid, I warn you. Do not have any weird thoughts. He could kill our entire family effortlessly. 4,000 spirit stones is indeed a large amount and very tempting. Many people would risk their life for it. However, this man is a personal disciple from the Grand White Grotto, Heaven. Also, according to rumors, he's dating the daughter of the Lee family. Not to mention, he has the ability to assess ores. Obviously, he must be strong enough to protect himself. Can you be like me? Stay out of trouble." Shopkeeper Song still felt very insecure. After all, Shantian had beaten up his son before. If Master Celestial is still unhappy with him, Shopkeeper Song needed to find a way to make peace with Master Celestial. Soon, Shopkeeper Song took out a ring, reluctantly. He walked up to Shantian and said in a respectful tone, "Master Celestial, it's inconvenient to travel around with all these spirit stones, right? I have a universe ring here. I purchased it in the past, and it cost a lot. As long as you give it a drip of your blood, you will be its sole owner. It is a superior.grade Dharma artifact for storing items with a 100 cubic meter space. You can have it. Shopkeeper Song. They gave me spirit stones because I helped them choose their ores. Shopkeeper Song, why are you giving it to me? Just because I'm handsome. A superior.grade Dharma artifact with a 100 cubic meter space should be worth more than 10,000 spirit stones. Just because I cannot keep these 4,000 spirit stones, you are giving me a universe ring. What's the logic here?" Chapter 27. We will always support Little Spirit Fairy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios, Shopkeeper Song, you are too courteous. How can I accept this? I am already deeply honored that Master Celestial chose to come here. This is just a mere universe ring. Please accept it as a small token from me. Since you insist. Then I shall accept it with many thanks. Shantian received the universe ring and put it on his forefinger. It fitted just nicely. What's more, the ring also looked quite stylish. The only trouble was, why did this ring also require proclamation of its ownership by using blood? All of these Dharma treasures, numinous treasures, and secluded treasures required their owners to bleed in order to claim their ownership. From yesterday's experience of trying to claim ownership of the Sword Master token, Shantian realized he had to sacrifice a full bowlful of blood in order to complete this procedure. But didn't those television shows and anime show that only one drop of blood was required? Why was it so different for him in this cultivation world? It didn't help that the universe ring shopkeeper Song gave him also required him to use his blood to claim ownership before it could be used. To be honest, Shen Tian was rather reluctant to keep this ring when he thought of this. After all, it was not that easy to just give a bowl of blood, he could possibly faint from excessive blood loss. How troublesome all this is. Shopkeeper Song, are you sure you want to give this ring to me? Although I am unable to bestow blessings upon people like Master Celestial, I can, at least, keep my words. If you say so. Then can I assume I have the right to decide what to do with this ring, from this moment onward? Of course. That's simply awesome. Shen Tian pondered for a while before he finally took off the ring and passed it to Eunuch Gui. Uncle Gui, this universe ring shall be yours then. Eunuch Gui was shocked. Oh, how can I do that? This is a gift from shopkeeper Song. I most certainly cannot take it. A universe ring, which has 100 cubic meter space, is worth at least 10,000 spirit stones or more. Not anyone, even those from the royalty, can own such a rare treasure. As for the Song family, this universe ring is definitely a priceless treasure, one that is irreplaceable. Yet now, His Highness just gave it to me, like passing any item carelessly. This is enough to show how much he trusts me. Shen Tian commented, Uncle Gui, you're like my close kin. Why wouldn't I give you this ring? Eunuch Gui gazed wordlessly at Shen Tian's trusting smile, and a warm sensation ran through his body. So to His Highness, I am his family. I could put down my life for him just for this declaration. Eunuch Gui did not reject Shen Tian's gift anymore. He took the universe ring and put it on his forefinger while forcing out a drop of blood with his divinity. The universe ring absorbed the drop of blood. A special connection was immediately formed between the universe ring and Eunuch Gui. He only needed a single thought, and he could now retrieve or keep things in the universe ring. This was very convenient. Your Highness, I am done with the proclamation of ownership. As Shen Tian watched how Eunuch Gui so easily proclaimed ownership of the ring, he got rather indignant. So it just took one drop of blood to finish this proclamation. Then why did I need to use a whole bowl of blood to proclaim ownership of that sword master token? That sis.con Wunli Changa must have done something to the token to harm me. Well, since you have successfully proclaimed ownership of this ring, then Uncle Gui, please help me keep these 4,000 spirit stones. After this, Shen Tian walked out of the Sky Spirit Pavilion. To Shen Tian, it didn't actually matter who was the one keeping the spirit stones. After all, Uncle Gui had always been loyal to him, so there was nothing inappropriate about letting him keep the spirit stones. As for why Shen Tian did not insist on keeping them himself. Well, it's not like I have another ring that can keep things. These were Shen Tian's truthful thoughts. Yet the onlookers had a totally different interpretation of this scene. WTH, is Master Celestial filthy rich or what? A mere old servant of Master Celestial can get such great remuneration already. Did Master Celestial just give his old servant a universe ring containing 4,000 spirit stones, or what? How many assets does he own, honestly? He's worried that his old servant would be tired from carrying the 4,000 spirit stones, and so he gave him a universe ring that's worth 10,000 spirit stones. Brother Celestial is so suave. He is my dream guy. Does Brother Celestial still lack any servants? The kind who can act as pretty fox fairies, sexy cat demons, etc. On the other hand, shopkeeper Song was not at all offended that Shen Tian gave the universe ring to that Uncle Gui. On the contrary, he was feeling relieved instead, relieved because he might just have escaped from a great disaster. Hello, this is someone who can just toss a universe ring to a servant. Is this person a figure I can risk offending? Moreover, after observing how that Uncle Gui spoke, shopkeeper Song guessed that this person most probably was a eunuch from the palace. This double dot confirmed his previous conjectures. This Master Celestial Outyen must be none other than the famous sixth prince of the country of fire, Shen Ao. Other than that, the sixth prince seemed more intimidating than what was rumored. The reason for this conclusion was because shopkeeper Song had been observing Uncle Gue intently, and he discovered a detail. The sword which Uncle Gue was carrying on his back, it was the jade water sword, which belonged to the young Li mistress, Li Liener. For heaven's sake, the jade water sword's value had way surpassed his universe ring. If Shen Tian had trusted Uncle Gue enough to carry the jade water sword, what's surprising about giving a universe ring to him? On second thought, since Li Liener had given Shen Tian her jade water sword, most probably the rumors between the two were not falsehoods. The Li family was, after all, the most influential aristocratic family of the Grand White Grotto, heaven. That family had renowned experts, and anyone being chosen by Fairy Liener would be on an escalated route to success. A mere family like his own could not afford to offend any single one of these figures. When he thought through all those delicate clauses, shopkeeper Song felt he had to be all the more courteous toward Shen Tian. He stood by the side respectfully while eunuch Gue kept all 4,000 spirit stones into the universe ring and then sent them off like he was treading on thin ice. When Shen Tian and his company finally left the Sky Spirit Pavilion, shopkeeper Song's clothes were already drenched from perspiration. This is so scary. The moment he turned back to his son, he gave a hard slap on young shopkeeper Song's head. Listen up. I believe Master Celestial isn't angry with you anymore. I beg you. Please be respectful to him if you two ever cross paths again. If not, you shall have it from me instead. Young shopkeeper Song was rendered speechless. To be honest, Shen Tian didn't mind at all about what happened at the Sky Spirit Pavilion. In fact, he had not registered how much shopkeeper Song was trying to please him all along, even after he left the place. He was still overjoyed at the fact that both shopkeeper Song and his son did not recognize him. Out of the first batch of the 20 people who had affinity with him, 4 of them already had their turn of fortuitous opportunities. According to where the next most fortuitous opportunities would be found, Shen Tian headed towards the Phoenix Spirit Loft located on the Myriad Spirit Garden's east side. From what he saw, out of the 20 people who had affinity with him, 3 of them would meet their fortuitous opportunities at the Phoenix Spirit Loft. Thus, braving the onlookers' anticipated stares, Shen Tian led the 3 of them into the Phoenix Spirit Loft. In the next few minutes, Shen Tian chose the correct spirit ores for each of them, respectively, following the projected images he saw. The 3 spirit ores were cut open in front of the onlookers' eyes. Opened. 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 Hit. 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 All the spirit stones that were extracted were at least worth 10 or more times the prices which they were sold for. In fact, the shop made the biggest loss on one of the spirit ores, which was priced at 8 spirit stones initially. A total of 1,100 spirit stones were extracted from it when it was cut open. This meant the shop had lost more than 100 times the original selling price. What a good deal for the buyer. Meanwhile, those 3 fated people also became Shen Tian's steadfast followers upon their senior's teachings. They insisted on giving Shen Tian at least half of what they earned and refused to take it back when Shen Tian rejected them. Shen Tian was considerably perplexed by such actions. To be honest, I really don't want it, but since they insisted. He. Right when Shen Tian was about to bring the remaining 13 fated persons to other places to open more spirit ores, he heard somebody quarreling outside the Phoenix Spirit Loft. When he looked more closely, he saw that those involved in the quarrel were divided into 2 groups of people. One group consisted mainly of males, while the other group was made up mostly of females. These 2 groups of people were in a heated argument. What's worth mentioning was that the group consisted mainly of guys were holding up a banner, and on which was written, "We will always support Little Spirit Fairy." Chapter 28. The Resentful Little Spirit Fairy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios, the heck with whatever Master Celestial. The myriad spirit garden already has little spirit fairy. How dare this guy call himself a Master Celestial. I believe this fellow is trying to get famous by making use of little spirit fairy's popularity here. Such a despicable person. That's right, to think people are still calling him Brother Celestial. Maybe he's an actor recruited by the spirit or shops. Whatever the hell with his a kind judging or abilities, who knows if he's only putting on shows. Even little spirit fairy can only open one ore per day. How is it possible that this fellow can open so many ores consecutively? He's really too greedy. He must be a liar. That's right. All of you cannot malign Brother Celestial. How dare you guys compare little spirit fairy against Brother Celestial? Brother Celestial only opens ores for people with affinity. And he's doing it for no repayment while exhausting his own energy. He's such a kind and hardworking person. How can you guys malign him? Shen Tian was rather stunned by what he saw. So, these guys are all little spirit fairy's fans. And they got angry because I also started to gain popularity. To be honest, Shen Tian felt rather nonchalant when he saw all those indignant young lads pointing their fingers at him. To him, these were just a bunch of dimwits who were accusing him of something which they were not even clear of. In his previous life, Shen Tian had seen so many of such zealous fans who would only hide and complain behind their computer screens. As a matter of fact, the idols whom these fans were crazy about might also think that their actions were stupid. It was definitely not worth being angry over such people. Shen Tian smiled and decided to leave by another route. After all, it's a good habit to keep one's distance away from intellectually impaired people. Yet at that moment, those fans seemed to notice Shen Tian. All of them rushed in front of him and accused in justified tones. You are that Shen Aotian, correct? We heard that you addressed yourself as a Master Celestial. To be honest, do you think you befit such a name? The myriad spirit garden already has a little spirit fairy. Aren't you deliberately trying to target her by calling yourself as such? Shen Aotian, do you really think your skills at assessing ores are better than little spirit fairy? Shen Tian did not prepare to answer any of these questions. This was because he knew it was no use trying to reason things with such people. The best way to handle dimwits was to face them politely. And ignore them, showing that you had no interest in what they were saying at all. Please make way, make way. We have to go to the next spirit or shop. Eunuch Gui and Qin Gao stood by Shen Tian's side, blocking off any people who tried to harass him. Meanwhile, the 20 fated persons also proactively formed a human barrier, so Shen Tian could pass through safely. After all, they were all hoping for Master Celestial to bring them greater wealth. At that moment, there was a surprised shout among the crowd. Little Spirit Fairy has arrived. Wow, my little Spirit Fairy has finally arrived, and she looks even prettier than yesterday. Little Spirit Fairy, this fake Master Celestial is trying to make use of your fame. Do expose him. Do you dare to compete with Little Spirit Fairy? And scram if you lose. Yes, scram if you lose to her. A path was opened for Little Spirit Fairy, who wore a full-length dress today. She looked as ravishing as the first time Shen Tian saw her and emanated immortal-like vibes. However, Shen Tian was very calm now. The reason was simple, he was clear of what the Little Spirit Fairy was capable of. This girl was no fairy with impressive powers, but a liar who's even less capable of assessing ores than Shen Tian. To be honest, he might even end up exposing Little Spirit Fairy instead of the other way round. Little Spirit Fairy walked daintily ahead until stopping in front of Shen Tian. She looked resentful as she stared at him. Yes, resentful because she had recognized Shen Tian. Enve after all, Shen Tian's good looks couldn't be disguised just by changing into a simple Taoist robe and pasting 2 mustaches on his face. Little Fairy drew in a deep breath and asked Shen Tian softly, "It's you?" Shen Tian was quite stunned. How did she recognize me after my perfect disguise? Unless it's because of the third sense women have. Despite this, Shen Tian did not deny his identity. He thought for a moment, smiled, and replied, "Yes, it's me again." To be honest, Shen Tian did not have any bad feelings about Little Spirit Fairy. As a young girl trying to find her spot in the cultivation world, it was reasonable that she did not have an easy time making a living. Much as though she was a recruited actor, Little Spirit Fairy was still able to keep her basic morales of resisting her unscrupulous bosses. That was something worth admiring. In any case, Shen Tian's current business mode had also taken a leaf out of her book. As such, he had a good impression of Little Spirit Fairy, but of course, her looks and figure had made up quite a big part of this impression too. Yet though Shen Tian had a favorable impression of the Little Spirit Fairy, it was not the same for her. Just the day before, Little Spirit Fairy had almost been frightened to death when Shen Tian bashed up young shopkeeper Song. Although Shen Tian later used the identity Shen Ao to intimidate young shopkeeper Song, Little Spirit Fairy still returned 50 spirit stones to him as his medical fees. This was because Shen Tian had decidedly left after rescuing the damsel in distress, who knew whatever he had said previously about protecting her was true or not. What if this chap was just speaking for fun and had totally no intention of really protecting her? Then wouldn't she be the one who had offended the Song family? How could she make a living in this area from then on? Due to this incident, Little Spirit Fairy couldn't enjoy a good night's sleep. When today came, the first thing she had heard was that her fans were quarreling with other people in the Myriad Spirit Garden. Initially, Little Spirit Fairy had wanted to smooth things out and persuade her fans to stop quarreling. However, when she reached the Phoenix Spirit Loft, she finally saw who was the Master Celestial. And the fact that Shen Tian still had so many female fans surrounding him, despite wearing that Taoist robes and looking like a total fraud. This was something Little Spirit Fairy could not stomach. This fellow is too despicable for words. First of all, he had bashed up young shopkeeper Song and made me pay for almost a month's worth of income. But considering how I also felt like beating up young shopkeeper Song, I can still let that pass. And I am being generous enough for this matter. Yet this chap here, after I told him how I earn a living for myself, he actually copied my method and started to snatch business from me. Isn't this too unscrupulous? So what if he's good looking? This is still unforgivable. Actually, to be really honest. In the event Shen Tian decided to work with the spirit or shops to earn some spirit stones, Little Spirit Fairy wouldn't have that much of an objection. This was because she knew clearly that her main target audience was male consumers, while Shen Tian's fans were mostly ladies. The two of them actually didn't have overlapping niches, and they could totally work in the area peacefully without bothering each other much. After all, each of them knew what the other was up to. There's no need to kick up such a fuss until both parties could not survive. Trouble was, even if Shen Tian wanted to sell stuff and earn money, why couldn't he go to other spirit or shops to do it? The Phoenix Spirit Loft is working with me. I already had agreed to collaborate with the lady boss of Phoenix Spirit Loft, that I will be performing in helping her to sell her stuff today. Yet now, if you are here, what becomes of me? Aren't you biting off the hand that feeds you? When she thought of this, Little Spirit Fairy's face flushed red with anger. The way she looked now was like a piteous girl who was being dumped by a guy. You are a scumbag. Chapter 29. What do you want? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios, you are a scumbag. When Little Spirit Fairy spoke those words, the surroundings quietened down. All the onlookers focused their attention on the two of them, and everyone could smell gossip in the air. It's you. Yes, it's me again. You are a scumbag. This was the full replay of what Little Spirit Fairy said to Master Celestial when they met. When linking the conversation, coupled with Little Spirit Fairy's resentful looks. SSS. Something must have occurred between this pair. All the female fans surrounding Shantian immediately thought of various possible stories that could have happened before. Why do I feel like Little Spirit Fairy and Brother Celestial are acquaintances? Come on. They are far more than just acquaintances. Look at her resentful expression. I believe some tragic love story must have happened between them before. You mean? Little Spirit Fairy had pursued Brother Celestial, but he rejected her. Huh, that's possible. After all, our Brother Celestial is so mighty and good. Looking. Or could it be that Little Spirit Fairy had bedded with Brother Celestial but ended up being dumped by him? Arg, I doubt so. But Brother Celestial's so handsome. I won't mind even if I had been bedded by him and got dumped later. When Little Spirit Fairy heard the discussions around them, she felt even more aggrieved. Talk about going to bed with him and getting dumped. Hello, I am a chaste girl. The Phoenix Spirit Loft's shopkeeper you came out just in time then, when Little Spirit Fairy decided she couldn't stand it anymore and was about to pounce on Shantian. While resisting her grievances, she pulled Shopkeeper Yu aside and asked in a low voice, Sister Yu, didn't we agree to work together? Shopkeeper Yu was rather baffled. Yes, of course. Then why did you ask this chap to come here? Aren't you smashing my rice bowl then? Shopkeeper Yu couldn't decide whether to laugh or cry. You mean Master Celestial Shen? I did not invite him. Little Spirit Fairy's lips twitched uncontrollably. Master Celestial Shen. Did you just address him as Master Celestial? Shopkeeper Yu nodded, and admiration was written all over her eyes as she turned to look at Shen Tian. Yes, Priest Shen is a real Master Celestial. How can that be? Why not? You mean? Both of you really know each other that well? Shopkeeper Yu couldn't contain her curiosity as she asked, Come, why don't you tell elder sister here what had passed between you two? There's absolutely nothing between us. Little Spirit Fairy gritted her teeth. I am always unlucky when I run into this guy. Shopkeeper Yu smiled and said, How can it be? Everyone's hoping to have affinity with Master Celestial. After that, she told Little Spirit Fairy about what happened within these past 2 days. When Little Spirit Fairy heard about Shantian's encounters, she couldn't help but start to suspect if all her life had been a hoax. First of all, Shantian had helped the Myriad Spirit Garden's Missy Li Liener to gain the 7-treasure fairy calabash seed by using 50,000 spirit stones to buy the turquoise calabash spirit Oregon. Next, he had helped 7 fated persons to choose ores. All of them had earned more than tenfold, and the highest among them earned profits of more than 100 times. Now, he was still on his way to choose ores for 13 more fated persons. Could it be that this guy really knows how to assess ores? But how is that possible? Even a real spirit or appraiser wouldn't be able to help 20 people choose ores in a single day. After all, assessing ores is something that requires a lot of energy. Besides, Little Spirit Fairy had met Shantian yesterday, and she knew for certain he was clueless about assessing ores. If not, he could have just exposed her straight away. There's no need for him to come and ask her any further questions. Unless this chap is just making fun of me. And in actual fact, he's an expert at judging ores. When she thought of this, Little Spirit Fairy got even more resentful. As a reputable spirit or appraiser, don't you feel shameful for teasing a young girl like me? When rethinking back to how she had made such a fool of herself in front of him, Little Spirit Fairy felt fire rising up in her body. This was aggravated by Shantian's polite smile when she turned and looked back at him. Are you ridiculing me? Fine, I am now dead enemies with you. To Little Spirit Fairy, Shantian's smile was like pouring oil on fire. If not for the fact that she had spent so long to build up her ethereal fairy image in front of the masses, she would have dueled Shantian to death already. Sister Yu, I don't feel very well today. I shall not choose ores today, maybe next time. Shopkeeper Yu shook her head and said, Oh, it's alright. Today after Master Celestial Shin came here, it seemed like my shop enjoyed better traffic. Little Spirit Fairy, ... Pushing down her anger at the fact that business had been snatched, Little Spirit Fairy forced a smile on her face. Ling'er doesn't feel very well today. I shall take my leave now. Please excuse me. After that, she turned and left in fashion. However, to the onlookers, she looked more like she was escaping from something. Meanwhile, Little Spirit Fairy's departure also made the relationship between her and Shen Tian seem all the more intriguing. WTH, why do I feel like Little Spirit Fairy's escaping? I didn't think of it like that initially. But now, it seems like Little Spirit Fairy and Brother Celestial definitely have some unknown story. My melon seeds are available for sharing. Will any kind soul tell me what's happening? I am really excited about their story. This is so laughable. Look at them. They were gloating about their Little Spirit Fairy. Turns out that Little Spirit Fairy is also admiring Brother Celestial secretly. Some more, it looks like it's a one-sided love from her side. Brother Celestial, why don't you accept Little Spirit Fairy? I am willing to stay at peace with her, and I promise, I won't be jealous. All of Shen Tian's female fans started discussing more enthusiastically. Meanwhile, Little Spirit Fairy's male fans were like pieces of withered eggplants, seeing how Little Spirit Fairy had escaped from the scene. What else could they fight for? As for Shen Tian, well, he was in dazed mode all along. Who am I? Where am I? What just happened? To Shen Tian, he had just greeted Little Spirit Fairy with a, "Yes, it's me again." This seemed perfectly normal by anyone's standards. Yet, this maiden insulted him as a scumbag, and still ran away piteously after that. Hey, why don't you let me scold you too before you run away? Aren't you being too unreasonable? And since when are girls allowed to be that insensible? Shen Tian was offended now. This maid was definitely losing his favorability points. No matter what, Little Spirit Fairy's appearance was like a hiccup in his plan for the day. For the remaining half of the day, Shen Tian continued with helping his fated persons choose ores in a slow but steady manner. Each of the fated persons' halos would show better providence after they got the spirit stones. At the same time, the black halo on top of Shen Tian also became paler. In fact, the patches of white on the halo were expanding in area. Other than that, the theory of giving money to continue affinity got even more widespread. In fact, this group of fated persons actually formed a Master Celestial sect and set one of the sect's rules to be: contribute 50% of what one got to Master Celestial. Much as though Shen Tian emphasized that there's no need for such things, his feeble objections were ignored by all of them, who claimed that their contributions were offerings to the sect's master, him. To be honest, this just sounded like some heretic cult. In the end, Shen Tian could only accept the amount of 14,000 spirit stones offered by these fated persons. Nevertheless, Shen Tian felt that everything seemed to be developing for the better. He had a mind to stop choosing ores after helping these 20 persons. After all, it was already getting dark, and if he continued, he would most probably be drowned by the tears of those spirit or shop's shopkeepers. Shen Tian returned to the inn with a tired body. Yet he would never expect to see a familiar person waiting for him when he opened his room's door. With a radiant smile on her face and carrying a cup of warm tea, Little Spirit Fairy greeted him warmly. "Brother Shen, I bet you are so tired. Ling'er has made tea for you. Please consume some to quench your thirst." Looking at this girl, who obviously seemed up to no good, Shen Tian felt ridiculous. "What do you want?" Chapter 30. Little Spirit Fairy's Night Visit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. Yes, that's right. This uninvited guest was none other than Little Spirit Fairy. In the day, after leaving the scene huffily, Little Spirit Fairy had felt something was amiss. No matter what, she could never believe that this fellow, who was about the same age as her, would be some spirit or appraiser. After all, in the cultivation world, almost 90% of spirit or appraisers were elderly persons. After pondering for a while, little spirit fairy had decided to do an investigation on Shantian. She wanted to know if he really had the expertise or was just simply cheating others like herself. As such, after changing clothes and putting on make-up to disguise herself, she had slipped back into the masses following Shantian. One should really applaud ladies for their make-up skills. After she had a change of clothes and disguised herself with an ugly appearance, indeed, no one could recognize little spirit fairy. Thus, she had managed to secretly observe Shantian for the whole day. The first hour of seeing him choose oars, she thought, this fellow must be a scammer, he must be using some magic tricks to fool us. The second hour of seeing him choose oars, she thought, I have to give it to him to recruit so many passers-by. And his acting's quite good. The third hour of seeing him choose oars, she thought, my God, how come all the shopkeepers look like they are not faking it? The fourth hour of seeing him choose oars, she thought, this guy. Can he really be a spirit or appraiser? The fifth hour of seeing him choose oars, she thought, WTH, how did he choose the correct oars? It's a hit. A hit, and another hit again. When all the chosen spirit oars had been consecutively cut open, and the fated persons had happy tears running down their faces, little spirit fairy had to admit, while it's true that she had been putting on an act, Shantian was not. He really had the real skills. Gradually, she had been brainwashed by all the fated persons. In fact, she had joined the Master Celestial sect willingly. After all, that slogan of "Follow Master Celestial for Spirit Oars, your household will own it all," was simply too catchy. What do you want? When Shantian directed his question at her, little spirit fairy did not answer it. Instead, she started playing up to him. I bet Brother Shen is tired. Do you want Linger to massage your shoulders and your legs? Little spirit fairy actually squatted down in front of Shantian right after that and started massaging his legs. Actually, it's quite comfortable. Shantian couldn't help but compare her massaging skill to that of eunuch Gui's. And his conclusion was, little spirit fairy was not any lousier than him in this aspect. However, should this scene be seen by her fans, Shantian bet they would be totally heartbroken. How's it, Brother Shen? Is this strength enough? When the young girl looked up, she had a radiant smile upon her face, which made people feel like witnessing the blooming flowers of spring. Yet to Shantian, he just felt something wasn't quite right. He looked down at little spirit fairy and asked, what's your intent? Imagine someone scolding you, scumbag, in the day, but now calling you, Brother Shen, so affectionately while helping to massage your shoulders and legs. There must be something up her sleeves. Indeed, after hearing Shantian's question, the smile on little spirit fairy's face got even sweeter. She looked at him respectfully, knelt down, and said, Linger begs Brother Shen to keep me as your disciple. What? What did she just say? Shantian was befuddled, keep you as my disciple. Yes. Little spirit fairy looked at Shantian, and sincerity was written all over her pretty face. Linger is serious about this. Brother Shen, please keep me as your disciple, and teach me how to assess oars. Oh my God. Imagine a beauty kneeling in front of you, begging you to keep her. How could any normal guy withstand such temptations? Yet, Shantian withstood this test. The reason was simple, when did he ever learn how to assess oars? If he really let her stay by his side, what could he teach her? Some musical instruments. For heaven's sake, wouldn't that be exposing himself? I reject your request. But why? Little spirit fairy put on a pitiful look. Is it because Linger's too ugly, and Brother Shen cannot bear to keep me as your disciple? Little spirit fairy looked like she was about to cry, her sad face was heart-wrenching. It was almost impossible to reject such a beauty. Shen Tian forced himself to look somewhere else and reply, "Miss Linger, we are not fated." Little Spirit Fairy put on an even more piteous expression. "But Brother Shen, I implore you to let me stay by your side. Oh God, I can't stand it." Shen Tian closed his eyes and commented, "Miss Linger, there's no point in forcing it. You are so pretty. I am sure other spirit or appraisers will love to keep you as their disciple. Why must you ask me to be your master?" Upon seeing how Shen Tian had closed his eyes, a hint of a smile flashed past Linger's eyes. She pouted and said, "Where do I go and find an even more powerful spirit or appraiser like Brother Shen, in the whole of the myriad spirit garden? Besides, all those old fellows are lechers. Linger doesn't like them." Shen Tian couldn't decide whether he should laugh or cry at this. "Then shouldn't Miss Linger be worried that I might also be a lecher like them?" Little Spirit Fairy couldn't help but let out a soft laugh at this, especially after she saw Shen Tian was still refusing to look at her. "Hee, where on earth can I find a lecher as handsome as Brother Shen? Even if you are. Then Linger will succumb to my fate willingly." Shen Tian was rendered speechless. "Besides, Brother Shen looks really humble and honest. You must be a good man, and I bet you won't take advantage of me as my master. Am I right, master?" Shen Tian, I look humble and honest. And was I just given the, "you are a good man," excuse by a girl? Now, this is unacceptable. I define myself as a Casanova. I am the one who dumps women carelessly, as and when I want it, humble and honest. That's totally not the impression he wanted to give others. Shen Tian snorted. "Miss, please leave. I will not keep you as my disciple." "No, no. Master is so handsome. I don't believe you are a heartless guy. Linger is so tired from following you around the whole day while you chose oars for others." Upon seeing how Shen Tian seemed undecided, Little Spirit Fairy immediately arranged a make-shift bed for herself on the room's floor. "The day's getting late, master. Please allow Linger to stay here for the night." "Thank you, and good night." After that, Little Spirit Fairy actually pulled up her blankets. And slept. She actually fell asleep. Shen Tian was immensely offended by Little Spirit Fairy's actions as he gazed down on her closed eyelids. How dare this girl ignore me and still sleep so soundly in my room? This is such an insult indeed, to a Casanova like me. Alright, he could accept this insult. "Even if you do this, I will not keep you as my disciple." After all, His Highness here wasn't any lecherous man who would forget where he was when he met pretty girls. Shen Tian snorted loudly. After taking another blanket from the room's cabinet, he walked out of the room. "Trying to seduce me? There's no room for it. Do you think that I don't know censored contents are strictly not allowed? Given the kind of luck I have, what if I am exterminated because of this?" However, what Shen Tian did not know was that the second he walked out of the room, the young girl finally relaxed her tensed-up body beneath the blankets. Little Spirit Fairy opened her eyes and revealed a somewhat rueful but cheeky smile. "I did not misjudge him. Master is really a gentleman. Ha, just wait and see. I am definitely going to make you keep me as your disciple. It's a must." On the other hand, when Shen Tian left the room, he was greeted by a sorrowful old eunuch. Your Highness, Your Highness. How can you let go of such a golden opportunity?" Eunuch Gui was evermore so grieved as he commented, "You are already 16 years old. Even if you are not prepared to take concubines, you should learn how to fool around." Shen Tian was slack-jawed. Now he understood, apparently, Eunuch Gui must have given silent consent for Little Spirit Fairy's night visit. Or else, considering how Eunuch Gui had attained 7th firmament of Qi refinement, Little Spirit Fairy could have never gotten past him. What made Shantian exasperated was, Eunuch Gui obviously wanted Shantian to have fun with little spirit fairy, and thus, he had pretended not to notice how she had been harassing Shantian back in the room. Shantian was incredulous at such behavior. Honestly, are all these people in the cultivation world that open-minded? Who is the real person who has transmigrated? Why do I feel so out of place here?